We're the Renegers.
And this is our story.
Basically, we're a good couple, a good family, probably well respected. Had lots of oars in the water, and seemed from the outside as an appearance that everything was good. And so, like any couple, I think every couple, quite frankly, you run into a speed bump or a hiccup or a hurdle every once in a while. And if you're not paying attention, Satan can jump up on you and get a hold of you. So in our situation, we did, I think, let Satan come into our lives. And we even took it to the extent that we were getting a divorce. And it was a very messy, ugly divorce for quite a long period of time. And we let the attorneys do what they do best. And so regretfully, we went through our process and moved apart. We were in separate homes, and
for 7 months.
For 7 months, and once it got to the end, I guess I had signed the divorce papers, the final papers. We had agreed on a lot of different things and disagreed on a lot of different things, and so ended up signing the papers that Tuesday morning at around 9 o'clock. And that evening, Shannon actually took Colin to a class that's called Divorce Care for Kids, and it was a great class that I'd already been through once, actually almost twice, and really wanted him to be involved in. So he was struggling, Sam was struggling a little bit, but really not age specific, but Colin was. And so signed him up, and Shannon actually took him to the class that night. And I remember vividly
fighting, kicking and screaming,
that she only wanted to go because it was her night to have visitation with him. And so I wanted to go because I signed him up for the class and I was responsible. And so we'll just leave it at that. But it was a struggle. And so it was egos and attitudes and temperaments.
All the normal flesh stuff.
Yep. Lots of flesh stuff. Mm-hmm. And so we just, we were really good at beating each other up.
And we had a happy marriage for the first 8 or 9 years. And
yep, never fought.
Year 9, 10 is when things started getting crazy.
I just kept getting this nudge on the back of my shoulder, saying, and it was from him, the Holy Spirit, saying, "Look, shut up, Carl. I got a plan here." Well, that evening, unbeknownst to me, she went into the church. I had 2 women come up and invite her to come back into the classroom because they were having an adult session at the same time. And so she got that nudging.
Even more kicking and screaming.
Yeah, even more kicking and screaming. And I didn't know all this until after the fact. But I guess at about 9:05 that night, Shannon sent me a text message after 7 long months and said, "Can we get together and talk tomorrow at Poets?" And so I was like, "Hello." And so the ego and the pride part kicked in, and I didn't want to do it. Again, that little Holy Spirit nudging on me on the shoulder saying, "Hello, Carl, this is that opportunity." So didn't know what she had to say or wanted to say, but after a long, heated battle, expensive battle with attorneys, last thing I wanted to do was probably reconcile. And so we sat down and started talking, and Shannon...
it was almost like we were on our first date. It was weird and awkward. And
nervous jitters and...
situation you don't want to really be in, But we went in and we talked, and we just started talking about the possibility of maybe talking things over and reconsidering, and things had flattened out and straightened out, and we were able to see through all the junk and just see things more clearly. And it was like God had put a rainbow there and exposed everything to the sunlight, and it was like, oh, I can see things a lot clearer now, and it's not this foggy mess that we were in.
Yeah, we fought a lot, and but then after it was all over and said and done with, probably a month into it, we did get some more counseling, and we actually put God into the mix instead of having other people. I tell people all the time, we had between 4 and 10 people that were involved in our marriage, telling us, pulling us, oh, you shouldn't have to put up with this, and, oh, you shouldn't have to put up with that. And so it was a lot of other things that were.
The one person we had forgotten to put in was God. Now, looking back, it's been a long 17 years. June 6th will be 17 years.
Yeah. Thanks for the
But around year 10 or 11, I think we found a new marriage and a better marriage, much better. And I think our boys are better for it.
Oh, much.
I still regret the time we were separated because I feel like it impacted them forever. But us reconciling and finding the Lord and giving them the Lord is
priceless. I mean, in the middle of all of this, you're right. I mean, there was no hope. I probably had the smallest molecule of it. Mm-hmm. She didn't have any.
If there were any hope, he had the little bit there was.
We had every reason to get a divorce. We had every reason to stay divorced. We had every reason to just be apart. And he's the only one that probably, mm-hmm. I mean, he is. I mean, he stopped it all.
And that's the first time in my life I can ever remember having that
clear
Jesus moment. And I don't know that I've had one since like that. So to someone struggling in this same situation or similar situation, you've got to let God take control and you have to listen. We heard one time, a long time ago, that a lot of people have a God-shaped hole and they try to fill it with everything. Don't try to fill it with the world.
We both did
don't
that.
Don't try to fill it with each other.
Yeah.
It has to be full of God, and then you complete each other.
The best way to describe it for me has been that, we were literally hopeless in the pits of hell, going through that process. And if you can imagine being in the deepest, darkest basement and slowly, in our case, getting to that first step, after months of fighting and battles and legal issues and everything else. I mean, it was just ugly, nasty, no hope. I mean, most people would have written the ticket, gotten out of it, and said, see you, bye. And a lot of people do. In our situation, he intervened. I mean, God intervened, said, hello.
It was like it took us forever to get to that one step.
Yep.
And then it was like speedy.
Yeah. After we both let our egos and attitudes and all the other people go away, we focused on each other, we focused on our kids, and we said, you know what? This is what's best. This is what God intended. And there's all kinds of scriptures in the Bible. I think the one that relates to us the most is, Jeremiah 29:11, where, He knows the plans He has for us. We just have to wake up and see that vision that He wants for all of us. There's always a reason for restoration. There's always a reason that He has for your marriage. And so we've heard of couples that were divorced for 7 years, 10 years, and they ended up getting back together. They never remarried. They just continued to go in a different direction, and then all of a sudden they've gotten back together. And I'll say this, every once in a while we hit a plateau. It's wonderful, but we haven't had the lows that we had in the past. I've never.
It's a better marriage than it was before.
Much better marriage.
And we've continued to say that.
Yes. We're the Renegers.
And this is our story.